Hey! Ooh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Hey! The jack taking on your bleed, bleed. Ah, hello. Oh, with some scary stuff again, courtesy of the phone app Whisper. Oh, let's stop that now. Hey, my name's Quinlan and welcome to Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. And what I'm doing tonight is I'm going to first tip the hat to my dear mate Markus Saastamoinen. Happy birthday for last week, mate. There you are. I hope you're watching. Our dirty double dipper, although you didn't dip tonight. But what it is, and his friend and my friend, Artie Jones. Both of them play with the wonderful band In Excessive and all that, tribute band for the great Aussie band and all that. And Artie, you brought up something. Our conversation last week went to actually talking about education in schools and all sorts of different things. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful night. And it got on to the, what can I say, the devil's pencil. I told you I could still play it. Good King Wenceslas after all these years. The devil's pencil, mate. And what it is Artie, being the impeccable saxophone player that he is and all that, brought it up. He said, did you know that he was a real person? Okay. And I went, oh, I didn't. Okay, there you go. On the Feast of Stephen. Oh, Mr. Fitzgerald. Oh, when I was in grade 5, he was such a patient man. 35 of the devil's pencils all in one room, trying to play Good King Wenceslas, which I'll put up here. And all that. And then what happened is the devil's pencil. Oh my God, how could you keep that thing in tune? What made it extra valid for me, the recorder, the school recorder, okay, was the fact that growing up in Dad's pub, the Dan O'Connell, so many of the folkies could just belt out the tin whistle and all that. Oh, and all the little, you know, all that stuff. It was just like jigs and reels, and away they went. It was amazing. So I'd go in with a focus, you know. I was the kid in the corner going, I really want to learn this, and everyone's there going, shall I dare pull it out and make Marley bark again? Hey, you know, that kind of thing. And I really want to learn this. I really want. Jazz flute, aqualung. Ron Burgundy, Anchorman. So what I'm talking about tonight is how it's a connecting theme, because I'm talking a lot about melody here, right? How do you get melody? Well, what happens with the recorder and the long-suffering teachers who have to teach the thing? It gives you a sense of melody, and it's a straight conduit. It's a straight conduit to the school band, you know, like to this day. If I was to play, you know, if I managed to get the with the flute, you know, and all that sort of stuff, I could knock out Good King Wenceslas on a flute, on a clarinet, on a saxophone of any type, as alto or tenor or soprano or heaven forbid, sopranino. Oh my God, it'll make Marley bark. Okay. And what it is it's a straight conduit into the band, you see, into the school band. And all the wind. And I've got to tell you, some of the loudest lessons, people think, you know, when I'm playing drums in school, everybody thinks the drums is the loudest. No, it's not. It's the bloody saxophone kids on their first term in year 7. And all that stuff. Trumpets, oh my Lord. Takes them 2 terms to get the C major scale out. At least my little poppets can knock out a... Right both, bum it up, Bradley rock about it up. Bradley rock, you know, right both, kids. So at least drums are immediate. You know, you've got to hang on to your hats for the trumpet, the saxophone, and the perennial out-of-tune recorder is the conduit to all those wonderful instruments of evil. There you go. And what happens is that what I always think, I'm a bit of a defender of the recorder, right? In a drum show. The reason being is because I came away with it like, something like that, you know, you just get melodic with what you're doing. This is a conduit from the last couple of lessons where I talk about different things, about melody and being melodic with what you're doing. Now, you don't always have to just always play the melody. What happens is when you're dealing with melody and continuity and in drumming, so if I just turn my, what is that? The Indian Bansuri flute. That is a rim shot. So there's a rock beat. Melody isn't just playing a melody. Sometimes it's you do the contours, right? Hi-hat. Yeah, the hi-hat. So what happens is you can have that for a hi-hat sound. When it gets a little bit more exciting, you could get the... And then when it hits the guitar solo... China! Hello, China, China, China. So what happens here is that you can have many different things from a melodic point of view, because what can happen is that you could start a beat off like, as it gets more exciting, bring it back. Markus, do you remember? Roger Taylor of Queen always had the tip where he would go, do a little psh on the hi-hat. Very clever drummer. I was doing another one, Bites the Dust, with one of my students, because it's such a basic 4 on the floor, right? Bida-bum, bida-bum, bum, bum, bida-dum, bum, ba-da-dum, bam, bum, oh, those clever little hi-hat bits. Oh, it's, you know, you think, oh, is it 4? Nah, melody, and picking up on the melody and nuancing the melody. That's what happens, you see, and that's what goes on. So what happens now is you can go, you know, once you're into the, oh no, I did that too soon. You could get into the raucous bit. And then solo. Big ass ride. Hell. China. Whoop. So on it goes. Whoa. Whoosh. Like that. You see, so what happens is with melody and melodic drumming doesn't just mean you fill all the gaps up. that kind of thing. As everybody knows, regular watchers of the show will know that I'm a Jethro Tull tragic, and Mr. Barrymore Barlow always gets a mention at this point. Oh, Bazza, there he is there in all his glory. And what it is he would literally play the melody, and I said that a couple of Facechooks ago, just like, he's playing the melody, Velvet Green. Song from long before that. Then I backtracked, and all that stuff. And then you pick it up on all the classics, and all that. So what happens is that when you're playing, where does it come from? What's going on? Where do you get it from? You get it from an early age. Now, as evil... Where does all that come? Try and keep a melodic contour going, a melodic curve with whatever you're doing there. That seemed to be the little hang together theme there. Now that echo, 120 beats per minute is what that is, so there's your little inbuilt metronome, you see. Now, this is a lot like any guitarist delay. Seeing I was talking about Queen, Brian May, what he can do. Remember in the 70s, I'm sure he still does it, but I just remember in the 70s watching a live thing, and he was doing the Echoplex. Frank Zappa did the same thing as his concert. There was like 3 of him going, and any classic Brian May solo, beautiful harmonies and stuff. Where did he learn that? Probably like that. Oh, I can translate that to guitar. I'll make my own. And what it goes on is you have that kind of idea of getting a start with one thing and moving it on to another. So, what I do, I was saying last week, when I use my piccolo toms, Terry Bozzio, these are the Terry Bozzio designed piccolo toms in harmony with Drum Workshop, DW, shameless plugging. And he's got a mess of them. I'm Bozzio light here, okay, sort of thing, half string. Beer comparison, nice glass beer. And what happens though is that he treats it like a piano. So it's like like that kind of thing. I treat it like a guitar, 1 4 1 3 1 3, going up like a pentatonic scale or something. It is a pentatonic scale. Okay, there you go. You see, so that's what I do there. Now, to get that kind of an idea and to do new things, create new things. Remember last week's lesson was you work for it and then it works for you. What happens is you might be completely devoid of ideas or whatever it is, and you've got to come up with something, or I'm just feeling so stale, that kind of thing. Then what happens is you work the form, you see. And so what happens is if I just sort of set my interface to something, if I put on my whisper, hello, and hello there, wow, like that. And then I hit a few things. You don't always have to play fast. Just play smart. Thank you. There you go. You see, you can do something atmospheric and all that, and get something going very smoothly like that. And all comes from the devil's pencil. See, one of the things I often talk about is that I've got a couple of things that I rabbit on about a lot and all that, and I know I do, and I know I'm not a pain in the arse about it, but it used to be my job with Mixdown magazine. I get asked questions about it all the time. I'd have the editor saying, write something about that, because, you know, this is what happened, you know, that kind of stuff. They did this whole festival, and it got called off, and they forgot to pay for the insurance, so no one gets paid. I mean, what's that? Don't get insured. I've got public liability in case the little popper trips over his recorder coming into the bloody room, drops a stick and trips over. He goes, oh my knee. $4 million later, Chris. You know, that kind of thing. Public liability, mate. Everything that goes with that, you know. So, you know, you write something about that, you know. Even the newish MEAA, the union, music union, not the old Musos one, there's a new one. And they were talking about courses for musicians. Hello, you need this thing called an ABN number? Yeah, that surprised me still. But anyway, what goes on with that is that here I am talking about the devil's pencil here, the recorder, and it's probably the most maligned, one of the most maligned instruments in the world. But what it does, it's a conduit. It's a gateway drug to melody, school band, flute, whether it be in the hands of Ron Burgundy with jazz flute or Mr. Anderson down here. Hey! Or at very least, getting into being able to read basic, beautiful little black dots and stuff like that. And what happens is when I'm talking about things like that, education, right? And what happens with the recorder, because it leads into the flute, the clarinet, all the saxophones, you know, all that stuff. It's got the same kind of fingering, so you can just play it, you know, whip it out and all that. What happens is, this is the thing that I often talk about with, say, that versus, say, guitar, which I play. It's my second instrument right over there. I've played guitar on the show and stuff. But what it is, you see, there's instruments where you've got to find the note. There's, like the guitar, if someone says that's an E, you've got to go, where's E? With piano, there's one of them, okay? If you want E above middle C, right? All that. You find it, there it is above middle C. First piano lesson ever, your piano teacher will say, plonk your thumb there. Sometimes they grab your thumb and put it there, and that's where your middle C is. You literally cut the piano in half, there's middle C. That's why it's called middle C. It's so literal. And what happens then is that you go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, straight, and then you're going down with the left hand into the bass clef, treble clef, bass clef. But there's one of everything. With guitar, if there's essentially with a standard like my Telecaster, it's a 6-string guitar, of course, and it has 5 of the same E's. Those same E's. You can have E, you could have it the octave higher, like 1st string E, and then it's on the 2nd string, 3rd string, 4th string, 5th string. If you've got a 24 fret guitar, my bass over there is a 24 fret bass. But if I had Yamaha puts out a 24 fret guitar, I think, as does a lot of them. But anyway, I don't want to diversify onto that. But then you can find 6 of the same E's. It just depends on what position you're going to play it in. That makes it a bit tricky. I get it. I'm a guitarist too. You know, that kind of thing. But what happens with recorder and the wind family, you have to make the note. So you see the note on the staff, and your recorder teacher, Mr. Fitzgerald for me, said, okay, son, it's all surnames. Now, Quinlan, put your thumb underneath in the hole underneath, and your first finger, that's B. And then you put your second finger down, that's A. And then your third one's G. And then you go, Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb, his place was white as snow. Yeah, off you go. God, I need a drink after that. You know, that kind of thing. 24 flutes. Sorry, 24 recorders in one class. Oh, my God. But what would happen is you make the note. You make it. This is my theory. What happens? You make the note. As distinct from piano, guitar, other stringed instruments like violin, all that. You find the note. But with a recorder, you make it so you know where it is. It's sort of like, well, G is that, B is that. And there's only one of them, so it's easy to read. When you've got a guitar, you've got a choice, you know, sort of thing. When I start teaching kids second position for things like the D major scale or the A major scale or some such thing, they're horribly confused because the open position with all their basic notes has become home to them. And all of a sudden, you're just moving it up a bit, and it's like, I'm confused. Oh, I never needed it anyway. Yes, you do. And what happens is that, that therein lays the rub of the much maligned devil's pencil. And there it is, you see, because what happens is when I'm getting it out, you can turn off now, I'm bringing it out again. There you go, you see? There you go. There you are. So what goes on with the devil's pencil is that you make the note. You know, you start to get the... There you go. And then you translate it to whatever instrument that finds your fancy. Hey, like this one. Hello, Doris. How are you tonight? There it is. So there's my little diatribe about the devil's pencil. On a drum show, nevertheless. There it is. Now I better start thinking about wrapping it up. I've got a 25-minute half hour for 31. We're doing it again. We're trying to save 31 again. It's become boring. It's just horrible what's going on with that, you know, having to, you know, come up and do, well, please let us, you know, it never happened for like, you know, close to, 20 years or something like that. And all of a sudden, current political dogma, every year, chop, chop, chop. You must chop! Hello, Barbarian. Hello, Miles and Tim. Chop! Chop! You remember the last week's show? Yeah, doesn't matter. You must chop. I know you want to. Come on, Matilda, my favourite wife. Let's go shoot some venison with our bow and arrow. Chop, chop, chop. I'm doing this sober. I don't drink and drum. And I mean it, I don't. And so what happens? In wrapping up the show, what you can do is, oh, that's the wrong button. Oh, hello, kids. How you going? Let's try that. Hello, Mum. There it is, you see? There it is. I think that's in an odd... Have I done that in 11 or something? So what I'm going to do now is going to wrap up the show with another little spoken word little thingamajiggy. And what I'm going to do here is throw back to the very beginning of the show and a fair tip of the hat, because this episode actually, the germ, the seed, that the germ of the idea and everything came from one Artie Jones. We at Markus's birthday party last week, we were talking about just things in general. Artie being the impeccable saxophone player that he is and all that. We just meandered there through the night's festivities, and we got talking, and I basically said, to this day, I can still play Good King Wenceslas. And then he said, did you know he was a real person? And I went, yeah, it's okay, there we go. I got an idea now. So I need to thank Markus and especially Artie for the idea. Thank you. I hope you're watching. I hope your ears are burning for the name dropping. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish off with a little concoction I came up with, which actually deals the history of our good King Wenceslas, who is a real person. My name's Quinlan, it's Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. I'll have this up tomorrow. It'll be on Channel 31 on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, probably the abridged version. Here we go. Wish me the best of luck.
Good King Wenceslas was the son of Flamadadel I, Duke of Bohemia from the Peridadel dynasty. His grandfather, King Bogrol I of Bohemia, was converted to percussionism by his cousin, Prince Flam Tap of Florence. His mother, Flam Dragomira, was the daughter of a pagan bass player of the Haveli, but was percussionized at the time of her marriage. His paternal grandmother, Ludmilla of Bohemia, saw to it that he was educated in the old drumming language, and, at an early age, Wenceslas was sent to the VCA at Bude. While Wenceslas was away at the VCA converting his recorded chops into tenor saxophone Coltrane licks, Flam Dragomira had given birth to another son, Balzac, in 921. When Wenceslas was about 13, his father died and his grandmother became head drummer. Jealous of the influence that Ludmilla wielded over Wenceslas, Flam Dragomira arranged to have her killed. Ludmilla was at Tetting Castle near Biran when assassins murdered her on the 15th of September, 921. She is said to have been stabbed by them with her drumsticks. She was at first buried at the Whole Lotta Love Bar, but being too small to swing a cat, her remains were later removed, probably by Wenceslas, to the dive bar of Last Chance, which had been built by his father. Drahomira then assumed the role of lead guitarist and immediately initiated measures against drummers. When Wenceslas was 18, those drumming nobles who remained rebelled against Drahomira. The uprising was successful, and Drahomira was exiled to forever lug her martial cabinet up and down the stairs of Revolver South Yarra. With the support of the nobles, Wenceslas took control of the government. To prevent disputes between him and his younger brother Balzac, they divided the drum sets between them. assigning to the latter a considerable symbol collection. After the fall of Billy, the rulers of the Bohemian Duchy had to deal both with continuous raids by the Drumtikians and the forces of the Saxon and East Frankish king, Henry the Wanker, who had started several eastern campaigns into the adjacent lands of the Palabian saxophone player's homeland of Wenceslas's mother. To withstand lead guitarist overlordship, Wenceslas's father Vratislaus had forged an alliance with the Bavarian Duke Arnold the Soundguy, a fierce opponent of King Henry the Wanker at that time. The alliance became worthless, however, when Arnold the Soundguy and Henry the Wanker reconciled at Musicland in 921, after they eventually found a place to park. Early in 929, the joint forces of Duke Arnold the Soundguy and Henry the Wanker reached the Corner Hotel in a sudden attack that forced Wenceslas to resume the payment of a tribute first imposed by the East Frankish queen, Esmeralda the Door Bitch in 895. Henry had been forced to pay a huge tribute to the Door Bitch in 926 and needed the Bohemian tribute gig, which Wenceslas refused to pay after the reconciliation between Arnold the Soundguy and Henry the Wanker. Another possible reason for the attack was the formation of the Shitty Flute alliance between the countries of Strum, Pick and Ukulele. Wenceslas introduced snare drummers into his realm and favored the 40 parudiments, which had gone into disuse in many places for want of reading. In September 935, a group of nobles allied with Wenceslas's younger brother Balsac plotted to kill him. After Balsac invited Wenceslas to a drum circle, 3 of Balsac's companions, Lig, Pick and Fully Sick, fell on the Duke and stabbed him to death. As the Duke fell, Balsac ran him through with a sharpened 2B drumstick. According to local folklore, one of Balsac's sons was born on the day of Wenceslas's death. Because of the ominous circumstance of his birth, the infant was named Garlic, Kebab, which means a dreadful feast. There is also a tradition that Wenceslas's loyal servant Dazzy the drum tech avenged his death by killing one of the chief conspirators, an act for which he was executed by Balsac, and they all lived happily ever after playing the good King Wenceslas on the Devil's Pencil, the recorder.
Thank you! Oh! The much maligned recorder. Oh dear. So, give me a little bit of time with the old editing cordial, and I shall have this up for you tomorrow. Hey. Oh, what a show! Oh, I earned my beer tonight. Hello, audience. I hope you stuck through, and I love you all. What a show! I'm off. Hey! Oh! Hey!